Hello, Houston. I am Kariliz Perez with Stone and Fields and bringing you the Houston real estate market. I'm here today with Toby and he's the master. So he's going to tell us what's going on in Houston real estate.
Hello, Kariliz. So we received the June market figures from HAR a while ago, but also we have a little bit of July, which gives us a peek into the future. And June was very mixed, but July, we're definitely seeing a certain trend and it's going to be interesting.
Very much so. Tell me more.
So in June, we saw a drop in sales of 8.9%, while the previous year, last year, we had seen an increase of 17%. Wow. So that's a big change compared to last year.
Yeah.
But if we look at the week ending the July 18th, then we saw a year-on-year decline of 17.4%. So that's quite considerable.
That is definitely
so
a
in
difference.
June, a decline of 8.9%. In July, a decline of 17.4%.
Right.
So that's considerable.
It is.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So historically, new listings wise, we'll see a peak in June because people want to profit from the traditional, peak in sales during the summer when people tend to buy their new homes just before the school season starts. And in June this year, we saw an enormous peak of 15,000 new listings, which is a record for the June market. So that's quite amazing.
Right.
Yeah. But in July versus July last year, 18 days in July, we saw a decline of 8.7%.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's significant.
So we
as well.
went to a peak in June versus June to a drop in July.
Wow.
Talking about new listings.
Exactly.
Yeah. So inventory wise, Houston now has an inventory of 2.0 months.
Wow. After so many months of just having low ones.
So that's up from a low of 1.3% last March.
Incredible.
So that's really a big difference.
Yeah, that's good news actually, because we need more inventory.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So the Greater Houston Partnership is one of the Chamber of Commerce's in Houston, and they have an economical department as well that does analysis. And according to them, traditionally a balanced market, they say, has an inventory of 6.0 months. But they say that hasn't taken place in a long time. And they say with the, internet playing a role and how quick homes move nowadays, they think 3.0 to 4.5 months is a more realistic inventory to strive for and to be considered a normal and balanced market.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't had 6 months of inventory for over 2 years. So the fact that we can probably get to the 4 months of inventory would be nice. And we're at 2, so we're half the way there. That's good news.
So it's been since September 2019 that we had more than 4 months.
Wow.
So that's
almost 3 years. Yes.
Yeah. So another statistic that's quite concerning, I would say, and that's that 14.9, so 15% of all home buyers in June canceled their contract.
Yes, that's really
so that made me think, like, you're always so happy to have a home under contract, and then I think we know by now, you can't sit back and relax, but this again proves it. 15%, that's like a high chance of the contract falling through.
Right. And there's a combination of reasons. You're probably going to go over it, but I understand that it has to do a lot with the interest rates going up. People don't qualify as equally. So if you were buying a house for a 3%, interest rate, and that now the interest rate is 6%, your approval, your qualification, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
So you might not qualify for the same house. You'll have to look for a house that is less in price and that type of thing, right?
Yeah. But there was one with regards to the canceling. It's something that I faced the other day is when people make their offer at 5%,
Yes.
then time goes on and you have the whole closing process.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, near closing, they find the interest rate to be at 5.8.
Yes.
And they can't sign on the loan.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, especially if you are building a new construction home, if you put a contract on a house that it still has 6 months to be built,
Yeah.
there's still time. You can't lock in the rate for 6 months. So, something like that could definitely happen, and it's definitely, a risk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then another thing that was mentioned is that buyers are increasingly not waiving inspection
Yes.
and not waiving any contingencies
Right.
because it's become a little bit more risky for buyers at the moment.
Absolutely. The other reason is, remember a year ago, we were dealing with multiple offer situations. So buyers felt the obligation to accept contracts and move forward with purchases without option periods and inspections because they didn't have any other option, right?
Yeah.
They either go that route or they lose the house and then starting the process all over again, which could be really lengthy and overwhelming. So now that we're not experiencing this multiple offer situation anymore, like we've seen in the last 2 years, then they're a little bit more, strict and, I would say, smarter about how they proceed with an offer and how they present, their terms. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, the buyers are standing a little bit stronger
Right.
towards the seller, which
Correct.
has not been the case for quite a while,
For
of
a
course.
while.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nevertheless, in June, if you look at close to original list price ratio, people have still been paying 100.1%
Okay.
of asking price. So it's
that's
still
above,
a little bit
yes.
above the market.
Right.
Total dollar volume increased with 1.6%.
Okay.
So despite decline of the number of homes sold,
Mhm.
there's still an increase in volume, which is amazing.
Yes, that's pretty good.
And single family average price rose yet another 11% versus last
wow.
year.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah, so that's really crazy. And it's a little bit conflicting, with market going down, prices still increasing,
Yes.
but that will slowly come to a halt for
Right,
sure. That
right.
cannot be different. Yeah. And then townhomes and condominiums, they experienced their first decline in 2 years.
Okay.
And they fell with 15.3%.
That's
sales.
huge.
Yeah. Well, the price still went up with 4.7%.
Right.
So it's a lot of movements, back and forth, and that will need to change.
Right. Well, the prices probably keep going up because we still don't have that much inventory. So that's part of that, supply and demand part of the process. I think, I don't know if you agree with me that because the market is shifting, it's going to be more instead of a seller's market, it's going to be moving towards a buyer's market where we just said buyers are going to be more, specific about their terms and not as willing to accept the as-is home and other things like that. Prices might continue to go up, but probably less aggressively like we've seen in the last 2 years. And then sellers are going to be more willing to negotiate and be a little bit more flexible with the terms of the negotiation. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. There are still a lot of buyers who are standing very strong because over the past years, they've built up such enormous equity in their homes,
Right.
which gives them an opportunity to play with this equity.
Right.
Maybe they should be thinking about investing in another home since they won't be dependent so much on financing,
Right.
but they have some value in their home.
Yes.
And
that's very true.
Yeah.
And now that you say that, lenders are coming up with more programs now. There's more options. We started seeing the 100% financing again, depending on the area of the market. And that's something that might interest investors as well, or first-time home buyers, right? If you don't have a lot of money saved for a down payment, well, consider areas of the market, of town, where you can find 100% financing homes, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Is there anything else we would like to add?
No, I have one more chart, which I think is very interesting, and you'll see that on the screen. And it's the development of the interest rates over the years.
Right.
And then you see an enormous peak of interest rate in the 1980s when it reached all the way up to 18%, which is just unbelievable, in today's what we're used to.
Yes.
And then in the 1990s, it started dropping, and it was still at 10%. And then from the 1990s all the way down to today, it dropped to, below 3% even, which is amazing. And now we see it going up. But I really think that buyers should not forget that historically seen, we are still at a very attractive interest rate today.
Oh, absolutely.
And who knows how long it will be, maybe 10s, maybe 20s years, before it drops down
again
to below 5 or let alone 4.
Right.
So, don't let buyers be scared away for that.
Oh, no, definitely. If you're thinking, I'm going to wait until they go back down again, well, you're going to then sit and wait for a while. Like you just said, 6% is still a very reasonable interest rate considering, previous years and decades of higher interest rates. We got used to and comfortable and it sounded all perfect with the 3%, but the reality is that 6% is still a very good and affordable interest rate indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, my first mortgage quite a while ago was 6.8.
Mine was 6.
And now I'm locked in at 1.15%.
Lucky
Can you believe it?
I envy you now.
I know, crazy.
That's great. Awesome. All right. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Toby, for the wonderful information. And if you have any more questions about the Houston real estate market in general, feel free to give us a call. Check out our website and stay tuned and follow us on social media. See you later.
See you next time.